Get out.
This is my office.
I'm filming a video. The other day, I got a text from one of my students at midnight asking me a question about the Bible. Great that he's asking me about the Bible. Maybe not so great that it's at midnight, but you know how it be. And he asked me, based on Genesis 6:6, did God really regret making man? Well, we're going to answer that question today. So let's look at Genesis 6, starting in verse 5. The Lord saw how great the wickedness of the human race had become on the earth, and that every inclination of the thoughts of the human heart was only evil all the time. The Lord regretted that he made human beings on the earth, and his heart was deeply troubled. Verse 7, so the Lord said, I will wipe from the face of the earth the human race I have created, and with them the animals, the birds, the creatures that move along the ground, for I regret that I have made them. Verse 8, but Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. So did God really regret making us? If so, that kind of changes everything we know about God's unconditional love, his justice, and so on. So let's look at the word there in the Hebrew for regret. And that word is nehem. Now, nehem is actually one of those words in the Hebrew that we can't translate perfectly in the English. Let's look at a couple other instances that it's used in the Old Testament. In Genesis 24, it's translated as comforted, as Isaac comforted himself. In Genesis 27, Esau comforts himself. In Deuteronomy 32, it's used as compassion when it says the Lord will vindicate his people and have compassion on his servants. And in Judges 2, it says, for the Lord was moved to pity by the groaning because of those who were afflicted and oppressed them. And so we see it as being comforted, comforting yourself, having compassion, being oppressed, having pity. All these different things can mean nehem. So what we know from this word is actually this idea of this deep, deep emotion that drives us to an action. And so here in Genesis 6, God has this deep emotion for what's going on with the hearts of man, and it drives him to an action. We know that our God is a God of justice. And so he's moved to action when we see injustices in the world and when he sees injustices. And so did he regret making us? No. He was sorrowful for the fact that we were full of sin. And because of the justice that is our God, he's moved to do something about it. And we can actually take solace in this, that we know that our God is still that way today, and that Jesus proves that on the cross, that God is a God of justice, and he's moved by the injustices of the world. No, he didn't regret making us, but he is always going to find a way to create justice and also make a way for us to be reunited with him.